Yay, and we are live, everyone. Welcome. Waiting in vain. You know that Bob Marley jam? I don't want to wait in vain for your love. That one. You see, what happens is we end up waiting in vain because we're reading Neville Goddard, right? And again, I was reminded in the book, we don't wait for something to happen. That's not what we're doing. When we create an experience in the 3D, we are like molasses. But in the astral realm, now in the astral realm, whether you believe in it or not, well, according to the people who have had near death experiences, as they are in the astral, they realized all they had to do was, I'm here, I'm there, and they were. It was instant. There is no delay. Now, if you read the Emerald Tablets, Thoth the Atlantean is saying the same thing. He says he guides his stuff by thinking that he is at his destination and he is there. In the 3D, where we are now in our physical reality, we are so used to having to wait because we plant and we reap. We have seasons, we have a rhythm. So we're used to waiting. So now we think that waiting is the same across the board, when in actuality, it isn't. Neville says, when you decide upon what it is that you want, as soon as you have decided and made your choice, it is done. But because we don't see it in the 3D right away, we tend to think, well, nothing is happening. Nothing is changing because I don't see the evidence. But we are reminded signs follow. So you've got to make the mental change first before you can see the physical change. So if when we are creating, remember, we're not waiting for it to happen. It is already done. It's only that we are in the 3D and we move really slow. But it is done. And it's not just done because I say it is. I don't know anything. It happens because of law. Remember what I told you yesterday. The universe isn't like a void anywhere. It tells you as above, tomorrow so below. No, it says as above, so below. As within, so without. It says causation. Every cause has its effect, and every effect is cause. There's nothing lagging, there's nothing lacking. So then Neville Goddard says to you, deny your senses. What is he saying? He's telling you you're not waiting for anything. So don't look to your senses to tell you whether or not you have or have not. You see, your eyes tell you, hey, is that red? Is that blue? Right here, right now. But from a creation standpoint, the eyes and the ears are not consulted. Because if we look to the eyes and the ears and all of our senses to tell us if something is possible or impossible, well, many of us would remain in a position that says things are impossible. My mother, gotta love her. I was talking to her earlier this week, and she says, I'm learning. God is really showing me that I've got to walk by faith and not by sight. You have to walk in the knowing that the thing is done. It is done, even though you may not see it with your physical eyes instantly. Sometimes we do. But even if you don't see it, you don't sit there and go, well, it's never coming. It's not here yet. Remember all of those Bible stories, but the one in particular, Daniel, he waited. He did not give up because he didn't see it. He knew that the moment he opened his window and he prayed, the angel was there. So he persisted until whatever he had in the mental, he persisted in that mental activity until he saw it physically. Not because he was waiting. He wasn't waiting for it to happen. It has already happened in the mental realm, which means you sat there, you thought about it, i.e., you prayed. The moment you name your desire, you have prayed. That's what Daniel did when he opened up that window and he turned his face toward the light. And the angel finally made it there and said, well, it's a good thing that you didn't stop, because I was intercepted on the way here. He was delayed. By what? Our realm of time. That's what he was delayed by. But we're not going on, is it here now? Is it ready? No. Over and over and over, for however many nights we've been reading now, there's one common theme in there. It says, what you do mentally, you will do physically. What does that mean? It means the thing has already been done mentally. And all you're doing is mentally rehearsing it, rehearsing your role. You're not waiting, you're rehearsing your role. Why would you rehearse your role? Because that is the shape, that's the form that things take. Without you giving something form, it cannot exist in the physical. You are the one giving it form. You are the potter at the wheel. You are the sculptor. You are the great Michelangelo. That's what you are. Right? That's what you are. You're not forcing anything. You're not forcing. You are simply rehearsing in your mind's eye, which is something, if you pay attention to yourself, you will see that you do it already. What Neville Goddard has done is to show you what you're doing. That's all he's doing. He's showing you what you're doing on a daily basis. So when you are defining your objective, once you have defined your objective, now what? Are you waiting around? No, you're not idle. You're not waiting. Because if you wait, you'll be waiting in vain. We're not waiting to be given something. It happens instantly. The moment you give it form, it exists. Oh, but I don't see it. Neville gave a beautiful example. He said, what if you imagined a rose and you can smell that rose? Is the rose real or not? Well, according to your sense of smell, it sure is, but can you see it? You don't see it, but it's there because you have now perceived it by way of smell. How many times have you been doing something and got a whiff just from nowhere? Just out of nowhere, mind you, it's not random, just out of nowhere, you got a smell of either your favorite thing. And then what does your body do? Your body says, oh, this is happening when? Now. But are you seeing it? Is it there? Or is it a figment of your imagination? You see, when I say that phrase to you, what automatically happens? When we say, oh, that's just a figment of your imagination, we think the thing is not real. But it is only ever real within the imagination. And because we give it form in our imagination, and we persist in giving it form in our imagination, then it has to take shape. But where do things take shape? Physically, because we are physical. We are seen as well as unseen. So we are forever giving shape to things. And even though it looks like you are waiting, yes, it looks as if you are waiting, but you've already given it shape. You have already breathed life into it. By simply giving your attention to it, it exists. And so long as you maintain the attention to this thing you've created mentally, well then, as above, so below. As within, so without. Then you don't have a choice. Of course, unless you revise to say, whoa, 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 wait, I changed my mind. And you reshape it. So that the new shape you've given it, you will experience it. So remember, we're not waiting for something to happen. We're not waiting to be accepted or denied anything. The shape that something takes is dependent upon you. But why is it dependent upon you? It depends upon you because you're the one living the life. You are. You are living your life. But who? Your being is living your life. Oh, the unseen. That still small voice within you. That unseen part. Think about this for a minute. When you say, oh my God, I totally should have listened. I should have gone left like I heard. That still small voice, is it there or is it not? Because you heard go left and you're like, meh, it's just my imagination. I'm going to just go right. It is unseen, yet it is seen because the evidence is telling you. It said go left and you went right. And then you were like, oh, snap, I should have listened. To what? So you see, we're not waiting. You are forever guiding yourself, you know. We are forever guiding ourselves. But you know what we're using as our guidance system? What we were taught. We make our decisions from there. What we were taught. If you don't know how to read Japanese, it just looks like gibberish on the page because you weren't taught to read Japanese. So we do what we have been taught. But remember, what we have been taught only appears to have been set in stone until such time we decide to learn something new. So that we have a new system by which to guide ourselves from that new thing. So you see, even though it looks like you are waiting, remember, you prayed, you called it, so it comes. All you've heard is, one moment, please. and it comes. It does not come because you are worthy or unworthy. It does not come because you are righteous or moral. It comes because you call it. That's why it shows up. Because you sent for it. You said, hello. That's what you said. And it says, I'm on my way. It's what it says. So even though you might think, this is taking too long, things have to take their shape. It's taking its shape that you have given it. So you're not sitting there and tapping your foot. Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Because what happens when you do that? We create more delay. We throw speed bumps in the way. How do you throw a speed bump in the way? You see, when you are focused in a particular direction, polarized, all the things that have to unfold to match your desire are in that direction that you're looking at. But if you stop and you turn around and you say, well, it's not here yet. Now, are you still facing in that direction? Nope. You're facing in the other direction. So now, what direction are you facing in? You are facing in the direction of, are we there yet? Why is it taking so long? Delay. So what must you encounter? Delay, because that is what you are looking at. You have now given your attention to delay, as opposed to it's done. It's done. So wherever you are pointed, either to or from, whatever direction you are pointed in, that's where your attention is, and that is what you will experience. So if you are looking at the finished product, when you're looking at the finished product, like the potter is, or the architect, right? They've already got the sketches. They've already had it in their mind. And all they're doing is hurrying to get it on the paper because it's already in their minds. If it was not in their mind, how could he draw the plans out? Even if he uses AI to draw his plans, he still has to give AI the parameters. What do you want? AI asks you. And when you speak it to AI, now they give what? Form to your thought. And the waiting part, quote unquote, the waiting part is, well, you can't build in the winter because the ground is frozen, so can't pour cement. Then you just build a foundation. So the architect, even the plans are finished. The house is completed because the plans are there. So now comes spring, you break ground and you give form to the thing that you've called into existence. And I know it looks like you're waiting. I know it does. Because you're like, but I only have the plans. That's the part that is required of you. The plan, the shape that you want it to take. If you don't tell it what to become, how can it? So you see, that's the waiting in vain part. When you do not define your objective, when you don't say, what do I want? I want ... And you put it together in your mind. If you don't put it together in your mind, you're going to be waiting in vain in the physical because you've not given it a shape. You've not given it form. So I trust today that things make a little bit more sense, because sometimes we get caught up in the waiting portion, right? But we don't look at how long it takes. Don't look there. Because if that is where your attention is, how long it is taking, the watched pot. Oh, it boils. But because you're sitting there waiting and rushing it, it appears to take longer. So don't use your energy and attention for impatience. Use your efforts and your time to prepare yourself. That's what you're doing. You're preparing. You're not waiting in vain. You are preparing you. It's like mentally, you said, okay, look, I'm moving. And mentally, because you decided to move, what happens? Automatically, you start looking. And automatically, you start packing. Yeah, you do. But are you waiting for the new place? Or are you preparing for the new place? You are preparing, not waiting. You've already decided what you're doing. And because you've decided, it unfolds from there. This is the beauty of what we've been given. The peace of mind to know that when you call it, it's hurrying to you. That's what it is doing. It's making its way to you. Oh, God, that song. This child of my own, making my way downtown. Oh, drives me crazy. But it's making its way towards you. So you're not waiting, you're not freaking out. The law gives peace of mind so that when you say, I am the sculptor of my life, and mentally you have your mallet and your chisel and you're tap, 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 tapping away. Mentally, you know by way of law that thing that you're tap, tap, tapping away at is taking its form and shape from your directive. And so the peace of mind is, I've built it, it is done. I need not fret, I need not worry. Nah, it unfolds. It unfolds how? In a way that man knows not. We can say, yes, go ahead, coach, come on, tell me.
Hey, just think about how crazy the person that planted the bamboo seed looked to that neighbor. For 3 years, they out there just pouring water into the ground. And then they were like, what are they doing? But they don't know what you're doing, only you, and you're being consistent at nurturing that ground and you pouring that water every day like you're supposed to, or every other day for almost 3 years. And then finally, after almost, like I said, 3 years, that little piece pop out the ground. Then that thing just started growing crazy. Now your neighbors, they see what you've been doing, but all that time they don't know what you're doing because only you know what you've been doing. You don't want to be waiting. You have no control over that wait. All you can do is just keep believing in the process, nurturing the the seed, and then there it is, and then blew up on you. That's life. That's how life is. Nobody knows it but you. So I just hope I can, leave it off at there.
Coach is in the house dropping bars because he's right. It's right on point. And that's the part that's so brilliant, right? Because how many times have we heard the story of bamboo? And it looks, right? Remember what he said about your crazy neighbors? They out there over the fence. And it just looks like the ground is empty. They don't know what's going on. How are you going to take their concept of what is rational? Oh, you're out here watering an empty field. Well, like Coach said, they don't know what you've done. So how do you let them deter you from your goal? You can't, because you are the one who planted the seed. Coach, bam, bam, bam. We need sound effects. Right? It's so on point. So that's what I'm telling you this morning. You're not waiting. What did coach say? You are nurturing your seeds. And in order to nurture your seeds, what direction do you have to be facing in? You got to be watering, plucking weeds, fertilizing. That is in the direction of you bringing in your harvest. But if you become like your neighbors and say, "Hey, nothing is happening," are you nurturing? Nope. And what did Neville say? Well, things wither and die for want of attention. So your beautiful garden that could have been, you stopped watering it. You stopped nurturing it because you didn't think it was happening. You see, we got to get ourselves to that point because, look, the law truly makes it simple for us. It says you reap what you have sown. And it's telling you below, don't we plant seeds? It's telling us, yes, you plant seeds. What happens to that seed when you water it and nurture it and talk to it? Well, it grows, does it not? But how does it grow? You don't know how it grows, but you do know that it does. So you see the peace of mind that when you plant your garden, you don't freak out and panic. Oh, freak out. You don't do that. What do? You go out there and you water and nurture with what? Confidence. That's what you've done. You are nurturing yourself confidently, and your peace of mind is being reinforced. But the moment, like Peter, when he took his eyes off of Jesus, he began to sink. Because remember, Peter was walking on the water. Jesus, because Peter said, "Whoa, I want to walk on the water." And what did Jesus say? Come. And Peter was like, "All right." He steps out. But what did he do? He kept his eyes on Jesus. But what happened when he looked down? He realized, oh my God, I'm on water. This is impossible. And he starts to sink. Wait, what? That's exactly what happens. You do not remove your attention from your desired outcome. From the end, all he was doing was looking at the destination. Jesus, that's the destination. And he kept his eyes on it. But then he became what? Curious. Well, nothing is happening. Am I really doing it? He looks down and he realizes that he's really doing it. And then, oh, I can't, that's not possible. And he starts to sink. What did he give us? Tell me, coach.
That's so crazy because when you think about like life itself, when people they're working towards something, sometimes they'll sabotage their own self because they got what they want and now they don't know what to do with it. You see what I'm saying? Like the same way you said he kept his eyes on Jesus, right? Mm-hmm. Then as soon as he took his eyes off and looked down, he fell. Well, what about the people that get everything they've been working for in their hand and then all of a sudden they fail? It's the same thing because they took their eyes off the prize. They didn't stay consistent. It's all about consistency at the end of the day. Like even with the bamboo wasn't worried about, oh, am I really doing it? No, the bamboo, and that's another thing with bamboo seeds and stuff. If people understood how that grew, then they will understand how business works in itself because it's a foundation under the ground that's happening at the time when bamboo is growing. It's growing all the roots. It's setting up a nice solid foundation so it can withstand the weight of the bamboo. So when it grow under the ground, all the many different roots, and then pop out the ground, that's your business. That's what you're doing when you're doing your business. You're quiet. Nobody's really tapping in with you to see what's going on because you're so into what you're doing. If you're really into it and honed in, you're into what you're doing. It might be 3 years, but guess what? That after the 3 years, everybody looking at you just flourishing and trying to figure out how you did it. That's life.
Dropping these gems, coach. You see? If we get a hold of that part, Oracle Treehouse, yeah, that part. If we get a hold of that part, right? That you are the one doing it. The law is telling you, remain faithful. How is it telling you that? By way of polarity. Whatever direction you're walking in, wherever you're facing and giving your attention to, so long as you remain faithful to it, well, you gonna get a result, right? So that's when you hear that from polarity, remain faithful to the outcome is what polarity is telling you. Remember, because you're moving yourself from where you are that you think is undesirable towards the desirable. And your job that the law says, remain faithful in the direction that you're going in. Remain faithful in your polarity. Remain faithful. You see, the law is telling you, so long as you remain what now? Faithful, you'll get the outcome. So the law is not telling you if you remain faithful in the good, you'll only get the good. Nah, it's telling you, don't judge good or bad or indifferent. Remain faithful to the desired outcome. That is what the law of polarity is telling you. Point yourself in the direction you say you're going in and keep walking in that direction because you're guaranteed the outcome, good, bad, or indifferent. So even though we might want to doubt because we can't see it right away, and we're like, the law is reinforcing you at every turn. It's telling you, stay faithful to the task at hand, and you have nothing but success. Yeah, but stay faithful to the task at hand. That's all the law is telling you. It's not there to make your life hard. It's telling you this is easier than you think it is. So don't worry, don't fret. You see, we think faith is blind, but faith is not blind. She's not blind. She can clearly see where she's going. So your task, should you choose to accept it, stop waiting, but point yourself in the direction. Somebody was talking to me yesterday about that, and I mentioned a phrase, and I said, don't wait around for it. Remain faithful. Just point yourself in the direction that you say you want to go in. But what if it's good? What if it's bad? What if it's right? What if it's wrong? That is not the question. When you have formed in your mind the direction you say you want to go in, if something arises that pulls you in the opposite direction of what you say, well, then you have the answer. Is it right or is it wrong? No. Is it going to allow you the new direction? Is the new direction going to add to your faithfulness in the current direction? Or is it going to cause you to not remain faithful so that you go in the opposite direction? Let me say that in a different way. If your desired outcome is pointing towards the right, so all of your actions are there and your attention is there, and something comes along and says, yeah, well, that's not possible. What's happening? Is that, yeah, it's not possible, is that leading you in the direction of your desired outcome or not? If it is, go with it. If it is not, well, then put your attention back where it should be. We must remain steadfast. Because we're not waiting. We're simply being steadfast because the thing already has life. You have already breathed life into it. The moment you have given it form mentally, life. You've given it life. How do you know? Because you've used the law of gender to generate. You projected that image that you gave form to from the masculine, which is your conscious self, to your unconscious or your womb of creation. You projected it into the womb, and the womb says, yes, let shape begin. And that's what the womb does. It knits everything. You know it's being knitted. You know it is because that's what happens in a womb. You just can't see it. But it's being knitted and woven together. And all you're doing now is preparing for the birth of the seed that you've planted. Preparing, not waiting, because you know it is already happening. Because by 3 months, you start to feel the flutter of movement. I'm talking about in utero now for pregnancy. What all you didn't know, you knew, but you didn't until you felt that movement. What does the scripture say? It was quickened. Huh? And you started to feel the movement. But you already knew. Right? So you see, remember, you're not waiting. You are preparing you for your desired outcome. It already has shape that you have I love how Neville says it. He goes, you've been self-impregnated. You're using the law of gender for that. Remember, masculine, you projected the thought into the womb of your subconscious mind. When you made the decision, you projected it. Generate, which is gender, Gen, generation, bringing it to life. That's what you did. And so at every turn, you are reassured that all is well. At every turn, you are reassured that all is well. Because you know, so long as you remain faithful to the desired outcome. How do I mean? Well, the architect is sketching and drawing. If he does not remain faithful to finish the drawing, what is he going to give to the general contractor so that all of the workers can be assembled and all the equipment necessary? He has to remain faithful to complete his task of sketching it and drawing it out, because there it is completed. And now all of the workers, general contractors, they are the womb, because they're now giving everything on that paper that the architect gave them, the plans, the drawings. They're giving it what? The shape that he assigned. So remain faithful today, or else you're going to end up waiting in vain, which means you're longing for it, you're wanting it. You're not wanting it. You're preparing yourself for it. You're making room. Because you have given it form, it now takes up space. So you got to make room for this thing, which means prepare yourself. And if you're busy preparing, well, then you already know the outcome. Yes, go ahead. No?
I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. Forgive me. That was an accident.
It's all right, beautiful Zola. It's all right. So I trust that today this makes sense for you. That you're not waiting. You are preparing yourself. You have given it shape. Will stay faithful to the shape that you've given it. Because the law is continually telling you, listen, it's done, man. As above, so below. As within, so without. It's done. And so your job The law is always going to do its job because it is faithful to get it done. That's its job. It does it. It doesn't complain. So our job is to define the objective and to stay faithful to that. Keep ourselves and our attention on the desired outcome, not the how part. The how, we don't know how those roots burst out. We know that they do. We can say, well, they built up all this stuff, they got all the nutrients, and then bam, they burst. Yeah, we can speculate, but we don't actually know how. And the law is telling us, you don't have to speculate. You already know how it's happening. I am making it happen. I am making it happen. So, in other words, when you tell by giving the shape, making your decision, choosing. I read somewhere that if you don't make a choice, it's okay. I'm like, dude, you're always making a choice because you have to. It is either you are choosing to do the new or you are continually choosing to do the old way. But a choice is always made. Don't get it twisted. So, whatever choice you make is the shape that you are projecting outward that comes together. So, don't be afraid. Neville Goddard says, do it nobly. Be as fanciful as you can be with your greatest. That's what he's telling you. Be as outlandish as you possibly can. Right? That's what he's saying. Because it will take shape. You're not waiting. Prepare. Let us take a moment, shall we, to welcome everyone into the space, because I can't keep you long today. I shan't keep you long. Hey, Tony. Jeff, Ruru, C-Staff was here, but I suppose he had to get to work. But thank you all for being here on Twitter. And Lilith, my beautiful darling, she's part of the replay gang. Yes, I see you all. YouTube and Facebook, A Not Sugar Visions, Marjorie, K. Chanel, The Better Man, Joaquin. And for the, is it Cloud Watchers? Is that what I learned? The ones who've not made themselves known. I see you. And for the replay gang, I also see you. Fanbase, who's here this morning? My beautiful Zola, Oracle Treehouse Coach, Marquise, Comrade, my Melanin, Miss McQueen, Flo, Smiles, and Vonnie. You're all here this morning. Thank you for spending time today. Remember, the moment you have defined your objective, prepare yourself. Just prepare yourself because it is done. You're not waiting. Prepare. Let us get the bowl because remember, I now got to prepare because at 3, okay, wait, I'm here at noon Eastern Standard Time because we're talking about a Bible verse today and where the law is. That's not going to take long. And then at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we're going to get our notepad and pen out or pencil, however you choose. And we are going to practice the art of writing so that we gain clarity. Because it's in that writing, you understand, you get to be honest with yourself. Some may call it journaling, but no, we're not talking about journaling. We're talking about writing things down. I'll elaborate more when I see you. It's in my timeline on my fan base, and it's also on YouTube. You can click on it and it'll say notify me, and you'll get to be part of that today. Let's work it out so that we don't have this confusion anymore. Learn how to create clarity, right? Anywho, let's get the bowl. Let's get the bowl. Countdown initiated. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Twitter, thank you all. Tony, Jeff, Ruru, thank you all for being here. Lilith, Cuddles, I love you all. It is great to see you. Tune in today on my YouTube. The link is in the bio on my Twitter. And I'll see you then. Much love to ya. Twitter is closed. And Facebook and YouTube, I love you all. Joaquin, the Better Man, K Chanel, Marjorie, Sugar Visions, A-Not. I see you. And then for the replay gang, I will catch y'all later. I look forward to seeing you.